the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
All right, yesterday we told you about Bill Maher on the Gutfeld show at the Fox News channel. He made his way through all of the hot spots yesterday, from The View to Megyn Kelly to, I think, the Tonight Show. He's got a book. But he's also an interesting guest to have, and he engages on things political and social in a funny, entertaining, but serious and rather intelligent way. So that makes him a good guest. And when he was on the Gutfeld show, as you saw, he sort of took issue with some of the positions that Gutfeld and some of the other conservatives on the panel had. Well, when he went on The View, he took issue with the positions that those ladies had. Now, right before he came out, Joy Behar said this about Donald Trump and about Trump supporters.
It exists on the right.
And by the way, out there, that hat that you keep wearing, that red hat that says "Make America Great Again," that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a swastika on the hat.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Because we see it.
Yeah, even Whoopi knows. Well, listen, I appreciate Joy Behar for saying it out loud. I've been telling you this. We've been doing this show, for 8 months now? And I've been saying it on my radio show ever since Trump came on the scene. Whenever they call Trump Hitler, understand what they're really saying. And they call Trump Hitler and a racist and an anti-Semite and a xenophobe and all of those other things that they call him. They do it all the time. You know, Orange Hitler. Every time they say it, what they're really saying is you're a Nazi. If you like Donald Trump, if you support Donald Trump, if you vote for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is Hitler, then that means you like, support, and vote for Hitler. That makes you a Nazi. That's what they're saying. And at least Joy Behar actually said it. Good for her. The problem is, it's bad politics. Bill Maher, unlike Joy Behar, has a brain. And so that was how the stage was set before Bill takes the stage. Now, let's watch the segment.
But it struck me that in the first segment, you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want.
Okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't want to call it the super far left, but don't tell me the left
or maybe the super far right.
We're talking about the left. Well, then
okay, but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger threat. But don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a joke. But,
too dark.
It's funny that didn't get a laugh. I understand when Bill Maher has to say things like that, that's his price of admittance. That's the toll he has to pay to be allowed to sit at the table. I'm not allowed to sit at that table because I wouldn't say anything like that. But Bill Maher, he has to feed the beast a bit, right? So he says, well, I hate conservatives. I hate those guys too. Don't get me wrong. I hate them as much as you do, right? And then the reason nobody laughed when he said, I'm old enough to remember when conservatives were the ones who hated Jews is because there's no truth to it. See, to be funny, there has to be an element of truth. It's not true. Conservatives have never hated Jews. I wouldn't call them a conservative if they do hate Jews. Now, listen, are there people on, I guess, what's described as the far... I never understood quite how Nazis and fascists and Klansmen were considered the right or conservative. Because Nazis and fascists are actually big government people. The S in Nazi stands for socialist. Okay. Fascists use the power of the government combined with industry to control the country. Conservatives are constantly trying to take power away from the government. By definition, it is impossible to be a fascist and a conservative, right? And whatever. It's the reason that there was no laughter is because it wasn't funny. Are there people who are not liberal who also are anti-Semitic? Absolutely there are. But they're in no way the danger to the Jewish people and the Jewish state of Israel the way the left is, the wokes, as he's calling it. You show me anyone who has hatred for Jews or the state of Israel who's a conservative, and show me any kind of actual influential voice they have compared to, I don't know, every single college administration, or at least 85, 90% of the college administrators and leadership on our college campuses right now. All of the intellectuals who protested over the last several months on behalf of Hamas, the terror group, the people who are chanting a chant that would eliminate the Jewish state of Israel. I think that's a lot more influence and power. They're way more dangerous than anyone you could show me on the right who hates Jews. But that's fine. Bill Maher had to make his joke. Nobody laughed at it. And now we really get into it.
If I had any doubt that I was right about the change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas.
I think a lot of us were disturbed to see terrorist flags being waved on American college campuses, but some who seem to be embracing a terrorist organization over the nation of Israel. What do you make of this moment? What do you think it's a result of? How do we fix it?
It's astounding to me that they can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. If you're for Hamas, live in Gaza for a day. Trust me, you would go running and screaming and begging to live in Tel Aviv. Mm-hmm. Women have no rights in this place, and a lot of majority Muslim countries around the world. There is no equal rights as far as speech, dress, opportunities for education, reproductive rights, freedom from sexual violence, freedom from sexual harassment. You throw around the term apartheid. There is a gender apartheid in a lot of the world where women are second-class citizens.
Are you at all concerned about innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, children and women? And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. This is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back. And they took a lot of money that they took from the international community, and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that. I assume the Israeli... Of course, everybody is, but that's what happens in a war. Here's a way to stop that. Stop attacking Israel.
A little bit more of this, and we will watch it. But Sonny, do you notice how Sonny Hosted actually doesn't have a response to the litany of human rights abuses that all of those Islamic-centered countries, Sharia law countries, engage in? All of the stuff that Sonny Hostin says and claims she cares about on a daily basis: rights for women, reproductive rights, which I love that euphemism, gender equality, LGBTQ issues. He goes on that litany, and all Sonny Hostin can respond with is, well, are you concerned about the loss of civilian life as a result of this war? And I got to get, again, I'm not a huge fan of Bill Maher, but I just love the fact that he looks at her and says, it's a war. People die in a war. And he's right. There are 2 simple steps that can be taken that will save all of those innocent lives that are being lost. Hamas surrenders and they release the hostages. What really gets me about this clip, and the reason I wanted to share it with you, is if you think about this TV show, this ABC News show, I want to remind everybody, when Barbara Walters first created The View, it was controlled and operated by the daytime television sector, the people, same executives who were in charge of game shows and soap operas, right? And then a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, they moved it over under the umbrella of ABC News. So this is a news show. This is an ABC News show. We've been watching this for the last 7 or 8 months since October 7th. That's the first time the audience of this show just heard that opinion, just heard those facts. They never invite anybody on who will say this. The only reason they got Bill Maher on is because he's a liberal comedian. But if they ever bring on a political figure, it's somebody who's screaming about ceasefire now and Bibi is a fascist. So for 7-8 months now, the View audience on an ABC News show has just heard Hamas propaganda. And the audience applauded, by the way. They sure did.
Calling for the annihilation of Israel and all the Jews. They're calling for the annihilation of the Jews. And so you can't really defend that on the other side very easily.
But before we go, I want to say...
No, we're not going anywhere yet.
Okay, but I just want to say one thing, because we were talking in the break.
Yeah.
Joy is a wonderful human being, and she should not be afraid that people are going to attack her because she said the thing about the swastika on the cap.
Well,
she does not think that as you said to me in the break, you do not think that all the people who are for Trump are Nazis.
No, I don't.
You don't.
I just want them to pay attention to words like vermin and poisoning the blood and the Third Reich. That's all. That's really what I'm asking.
They see Trump as a comedian. They see him as a clown who says crazy things.
They saw Hitler like that.
Right? Okay. But that doesn't mean, you can hate Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It is half the
I have some in my family. I don't think they're Nazis.
Okay, great.
I do like that they, honestly, what a gracious man and generous he was to help Joy clean that up, but it didn't work because we've seen enough of Joy Behar. In fact, another little moment with Joy Behar happened that I really want to share with you, because this does tell you everything you need to know about her, about that show, and about how they go about, again, I want to remind you, presenting a news show. This is ABC News. Joy Behar works for the ABC News division, and this is how she engages with topics on this news program.
Well, you have this new book out, and, I watch your show all the time, so I know that you're a comic, but you basically go after Trump and Biden, both of them, and a lot of people are not happy with you about that. I'm
not equally.
Well, not equally, because that Trump is doing more dangerous.
Of course. I mean, I don't think anybody was more out front on that danger than I was. I was talking about how he was never going to give up power long ago, when everybody was laughing at me and said, you smoke too much pot. And I said, I smoke just the right amount of pot. Because plainly, I was using the term slow-moving coup before he was elected the first time.
That's right.
I said, this guy is never going to concede power. It's impossible to imagine him going, I lost.
Yeah, can't do it.
That's just not in his nature.
All right, so again, this is who Bill Maher is. As we said yesterday, he's not a conservative, so stop thinking that he is. He hates Trump, and he, these are his opinions. This is what he has to say to stay on the View panel, by the way, also, and to get invited back. So again, typical, we're used to it. And also, by the way, Bill Maher, when he said, I used the term slow-moving coup back in 2016. Yeah, because Bill Maher was all in on the Russian collusion thing. He still never really sort of made amends for that. Okay, so this is not a Bill Maher stand show over here, but we're pointing out exactly how he's able to draw out, because he's in friendly territory with these lunatics on the View. He's able to draw them out. And they expose themselves because they think they're in a safe space. So now that you have me responding to the ridiculous nature of what he just said about Trump and conceding power and all that BS. I mean, please, you know how we know that Donald Trump will concede power if he loses? Because he's not in the White House right now, you morons. Anyway, watch what Joy Behar now reveals to the world.
But I'm nervous about saying anything against Biden, because I feel, not that I have so much power, and you have some more than I do, obviously. But
I don't know about that.
Are you afraid that you might, influence people who are on the fence?
I think you lose all credibility. I do. I mean, my bond with my audience has always been, I don't pull a punch.
Yeah.
My bond with my audience is, you're not going to like everything I say, but I'm saying what I really think is true.
Right.
That's.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And look, Biden just presents as old. It's not really fair.
No.
Because he's almost the same age. Trump is almost the same age as him.
I know.
But Trump doesn't present that way. You look at somebody right away, you can kind of just sum them up. I mean, we are not young. but we don't present as old.
Yeah.
Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, he's cadaver-like.
But his brain is good. He's still great.
Well, here's what I said. Like when I came back after the strike in September, I said he should get out because he's just lost the faith of people. It's not fair. He's actually done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But I said he's going to be Ruth Bader Biden. That's the term I used. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She stayed too long at the fair.
Yeah.
I remember Obama had her over to the White House, like in 2013, to hint, hey, spend more time with the grandkids. That would not be a good idea, Ruth. And she didn't take the hint, and she was not in good health, and she stayed too long, and she ruined her legacy and got the Supreme Court now to be a pretty right-wing organization. Said Biden shouldn't do that. But, ego, he's Dracula. He has crossed oceans of time to be here, and he's not going to give it up now.
Will you lead me kind
I've got so much to say about this, and we do need to wrap up this segment. But let me just say this. First of all, there's Joy Behar saying, I am afraid to say anything critical of Joe Biden because I don't want to influence people who might be on the fence. So even if it's true, even if it's news, even if it's factual, she's not going to say anything about it because she's not in the news business. She's not in the analysis business. She's not in the commentary business. She's certainly not in the comedy business. She's in the business of helping Joe Biden and the Democrats. And that's what ABC News is presenting every day. And to Bill Maher, again, we repeat what we said yesterday. It's not Joe Biden's age that's the problem. I love Joy Behar, but his mind's okay. His brain is fine. No, it's not. He can't pronounce words. He can't remember anything. It's how he dodged a federal indictment over the classified documents case. Joe Biden's brain is mashed potatoes. We can't say it enough. But there's one other thing here, and we'll wrap it up. Because I had this whole mythology of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, what an icon, but she ruined her legacy because she stayed too long. Obama tried to get her out, and now Biden's going to do the same thing. He's going to ruin everything because he stayed too long and he's going to lose. Look at how the left views these people, these heroes of theirs. They're champions, right? They're saints. They're iconic. Joe Biden will always be a hero to them because he beat Donald Trump, or we're told he beat Donald Trump. Certainly, under the rules of that election, he was declared the winner. We'll leave it at that. But they'll love him for that forever. And they'll always love Ruth Bader Ginsburg for what she did. But it's tarnished because she stayed too long. They view these people as tools, as instruments. Their job is to deliver for us the power that we will use and retain. And the second you are no longer capable of doing that for us, you are useless to us. And you must go. When you're a liability, you're done. We cut you off. Up until then, you're wonderful. It's sick. They're sick. They're the left.